You might be outraged at the question, what? Hitler? A Christian? If there's anyone who ever walked the face of the earth that was not a Christian, it's Adolf Hitler. Well, yes, you're absolutely right. In no way, shape, size, or form could Adolf Hitler be identified as a true Christian any more than Osama bin Laden could be identified as an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. No question whatsoever. However, there are things that Hitler said, and there are things he identified with in the church, speaking of himself as a Christian, speaking of himself as doing God's work, that have allowed critics of Christianity and atheists and others to say, hey, Adolf Hitler was a Christian. You know, he spoke of himself as doing the Lord's work and the work of the church and tried to gather Christian leaders behind him. But it was a totally unbiblical Christianity that he was putting forward. And the idea of the centerpiece of the faith being the Messiah dying on the cross, Jesus dying on the cross, that was weakness, and he was against that. And in point of fact, there was the Orthodox German church, the true German church, had a movement going against him, the confessing church, where they said, no, this is the gospel, not the junk that you're putting forward. And more than anything, it was just spiritual deception on his part and a way to garner people together behind his cause, but had absolutely nothing to do with the gospel in any way, shape, size, or form. It's like me putting a sign in front of a Mexican restaurant and saying, you know, wing fat Chinese restaurant. The whole menu is Mexican. Everyone in the place speaks Spanish. That would be just as Christian as Adolf Hitler was. Look at what Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 7. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruit. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes or figs from thistles? So this is an easy one. 1 John 3 tells us anyone who is a murderer does not have eternal life in them. Someone who continues to murder does not have eternal life. Adolf Hitler, by his fruit, was a mass murderer and one of the most wicked human beings who ever lived on the planet. To repeat, in no way, shape, size, or form, possibly, could Adolf Hitler be identified as a true Christian.